Our June 7th meeting of the Cookeville City Council to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Woodford, Councilman Henry,
Here.
Mayor Shelton,
Here.
Vice Mayor Epps, Councilman Womack.
Here.
3 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite those that wish to do so to stand for the invocation given tonight by David Hill, President of Tennessee Bible College, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag.
Will you bow with me, please? Gracious God, eternal Father, thank you for the beautiful day you've allowed us to see and to live. We're thankful, Father, for this community and this country that affords us the liberty that we enjoy. We're mindful, Father, of the great price that's been paid that we could enjoy what we enjoy in freedom, and may it ever be that way. Dear Father, we pray for this governing body. We ask your blessings to be upon them. We pray that they would make decisions based on wisdom, based on judgment and concern for every citizen. And Father, we're thankful that we have a governing body that allows for the public and for those who are constituents to be able to speak and to be a part of the governing process of this great nation. Father, be with the Woodford family today. We ask your comfort to be upon them in this time of separation and loss, and help us to live each day, not only with the view of the present, but in view of eternity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good deal.
Item 3, consider approval of agenda as presented. Are there any changes or corrections?
Mayor, we have no changes to the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all vote.
4 yes votes, motion carried.
Thank you. Under proclamation, 4A, proclamation to honor Putnam County volunteer firefighter Waldo Vasquez in recognition of National CPR Week. Councilman Womack.
Thank you, Mayor. We have an exceptional event here. This is National CPR AED Week, the 1st through the 7th of June. And in honor of that, we've had our PulsePoint app used for the first time to save an individual. And Mr. Vasquez was able to do that several weeks ago with a person visiting Cookeville at the Walmart. And I'm going to read you the proclamation. Whereas National CPR and AED Awareness Week is held annually June 1 through 7 to bring attention to how lives can be saved by more individuals knowing how to perform CPR and operate AED machines. And whereas, with a desire to assist others in the community, 4 local organizations, the Putnam County 911, the Cookeville Regional Charitable Foundation, Tennessee Heart, and the Mended Hearts Cookeville Chapter combine resources to purchase a mobile application that alerts registered CPR trained citizens when there is a possible CPR event nearby that needs their skills. And whereas PulsePoint Foundation, through the use of location-aware mobile devices, works with public safety agencies to allow communication with off-duty personnel and citizens by providing life-saving application that notifies citizens only at a public location. And whereas, within 2 months of the initial launch of the PulsePoint application in February of 2018, a life was saved in Cookeville, Tennessee, by off-duty volunteer firefighter Waldo Vasquez. Firefighter Vasquez was in the same retail location as a visitor to Cookeville that required CPR, who was merely passing through on his way to vacation. And whereas it is appropriate today that we honor firefighter Vasquez for his service to others and prompt response in the call for assistance, firefighter Vasquez is a shining example that life-saving CPR training can and does save lives. Now, therefore, our Councilman Charles Womack, on behalf of the Cookeville City Council, with great pleasure do proclaim a profound sense of appreciation to firefighter Waldo Vasquez for his exemplary service to others, volunteer spirit, and dedication to the community by learning and using the skills that CPR provides, and do find it fitting to honor firefighter Vasquez during National CPR and AED Awareness Week, this 7th day of June 2018. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Okay, under, congratulations, sir. Under new business, 5A, consider approval of minutes of council meeting held on May 17th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
5B, hold a public hearing to consider on second and final reading ordinance 0180512, amending the budget of the general, state street aid, sanitation, drug, animal control, economic development, general obligation, debt service, and general improvement bond funds of the city of Cookeville for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2018. Ms. Emmel.
Mayor and council members, this is the second reading, as you just stated. We have made no changes to this ordinance since first reading. We've had no calls or comments on it, and I would recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. Under consent agenda 6A, consider awarding bid for water meters for the Water Quality Control Department. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Under new business, 7A, hold a public hearing and consider on first reading ordinance 0180507, rezoning 10.11 acres on Buffalo Valley Road, tax map 54, parcel 93.03 from RS20 single-family residential to RS10 single-family residential. Mr. Mills.
Mayor and council members, this is the general location of the property being considered for rezoning. More detailed map of the property. The rezoning was initiated by the property owner, Deanna Collins. As you stated, this is identified as parcel 9303 on tax map 54, and it consists of approximately 10.11 acres. As you can see from this map, it's contiguous with RS20 on all sides. Here's an aerial view of the property. I'll let you on. I'll come back to this, but as you can see from this, sewer bisects the property. Here's a photo from our drone, better layout of the property, and the existing zoning. Our RS20 district is intended for low-density residential environment where public wastewater services may not be available. It requires a minimum land area of 20,000 square feet. The RS10 is also a single-family residential district, but it's intended to have public wastewater available, and the minimum lot area is 10,000 square feet. As I noted just a second ago, public sewer is available to this property. Our 2030 plan primarily depicts the property as being suitable for lower density residential development. At the time the plan was prepared, public wastewater service was not available to the parcel. The property is located in an area annexed in 2000. It's noted in our 2030 plan that to accommodate anticipated future growth, significant portions of the land area annexed since 2000 will have to be rezoned when the appropriate infrastructure is provided. In the opinion of the Planning Department, the proposed rezoning is reasonable in compliance with the 2030 plan. The rezoning was approved by the Planning Commission, is recommended by the Planning Department.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting. Do we have anyone that would like to speak about this matter? Nope. All right, we'll close the public hearing portion. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
If I could, James, help me understand the differences between RS20 and RS10, other than the square footage being 10,000. Did you say there's a density change or density difference in those two zones?
Well, I mean, just the square footage of the lot
Right.
increases the density. So the minimum land area per lot in the RS20 is 20,000 square feet. And in this RS10, it's 10,000 square feet. So it doubles, it would potentially double the density.
And this request was made by the property owner, was it?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7B, hold a public hearing and consider on first reading ordinance 0180508, rezoning 1200 Boyd Ferris Road from CI Commercial Industrial Mixed Use to LM Light Manufacturing. Mr. Mills.
Mayor and council members, here's the general location of the subject property. This was initiated by David Ronald Slagle on behalf of Upper Cumberland Rental and Sales. Here's a closer view of the property. This tract is identified as parcel 5204 on tax map 83, and it consists of just under 7 acres. As you can see from this map, the property is contiguous with other properties owned as CI and LM to the south, as CI to the north and east, and as CI and LM to the west. Currently, there's an equipment rental, landscape equipment sales, and service business located on the property. Mr. Slagle indicates in his petition that the purpose of the rezoning is to allow for bulk sales of propane, which would require a 30,000-gallon propane tank. Propane bulk sales are permitted uses in the LM and HM, but not in the CI. It was noted at the Planning Commission meeting that the Planning Department had been contacted by nearby property owners concerned about the use of the property for propane bulk sales. Here's an aerial view of the property. This is where the current business is located. And this is the view from our drone. And this is the current zoning. The CI district is intended to accommodate a mixture of compatible commercial and light industrial developments. The LM district is intended for light industrial developments only. The Cookeville 2030 plan depicts this property as being suitable for mixed-use commercial or industrial development, and the CI and LM districts are both compatible with this land use classification. Proposed rezoning was approved by the Planning Commission and is recommended by the Planning Department.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting. Do we have anyone that would like to speak about this matter? Yes, if you'll come to the lectern and just identify yourself and your address. You'll have 3 minutes to discuss this, whatever you'd like to say about it.
Hi, Mayor Shelton and members of the council. My name is Catherine Wallace, and this is my husband, Joseph Wallace. We own property on Boyd Ferris Road. It's currently under construction. I think it's 2301 is our address. It's property that we purchased from Joseph's family, property that belonged to his grandparents, so our investment in Boyd Ferris Road goes a little bit further than just the materials used to build this home right now. In addition to our attachment to the area, there's new homeowners on the road who have grown to love it too. So a number of residents, established and new, feel the same as we do about this issue. We talked to at least 7 families today who have concerns about it and are not ready for a decision to be made. While we would never wish any ill will towards someone trying to build their business, we have a duty to maintain the integrity of the lands adjacent to our property that divide us from the current mixed-use property. There are 6 of these properties located on Boyd Ferris Road. Collectively, these businesses already create congestion and unorganized entry to our road. Ultimately, we feel the rezoning of Upper Cumberland rental and sales will set a precedent for other mixed-use properties to be rezoned in the same way. Also, since the nearby Lemon Ferris industrial area is already zoned as light manufacturing, we are beginning to feel threatened that our residential space will soon be encroached upon by more manufacturing. So today we oppose the rezoning of the business located at 1200 Boyd Ferris Road and ask that the request be denied.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else that would like to speak about this? Okay. We'll close the public hearing portion. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it so we can have discussion. Discussion.
James, in light of what has just been said, to the extent that this rezoning happens, what could happen on that property that could not happen now that might concern the neighbors?
Well, the propane bulk sales is what was in the purpose of the request, but there are other heavier industrial uses. It's not our heavy manufacturing zone, but it's a moderate zone between CI and HM. But as you can see on this map, this property is touched by LM on 2 sides. And if the concerns about propane, you have propane sales here or anywhere in here. So as I noted earlier, the LM fits in the classifications in our 2030 plan. The discussion at the Planning Commission was concerned that properties that touch this and are adjacent to this can have their propane sales. So they were basically denying this property owner the same rights that adjoining property owners would have. And that's part of the logic to approve rezoning. All this area is already industrial, if you're familiar with this. Going down Boyd Ferris, there's several different industrial uses there.
Do we have a bigger map that shows the property owner's location in relation?
Well, you can see on this map the land uses that are around this. Boyd, let me go by. There, I think you're towards after the curve past where the property was auctioned there, before you get back to the very back of that That's a dead-end street that goes all the way back in there.
So
Boyd
Boyd Ferris is a
I mean,
dead end?
excuse me. Yeah, but they're on back in here. You're, okay, I'm sorry. Which one do you want me to look at?
Is there something that shows a bigger,
This is the
like a
biggest
little bit
map I've
bigger?
got for this.
No, a little bit bigger than that.
A little bit
I
bigger
don't,
than
I mean,
that.
I don't have one in the PowerPoint presentation. No.
Can we get that magnified or shown?
Get what?
The map that they had there, back there.
Yeah, Councilman Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. James, if I might ask, just while they're looking at that, what was the vote at the planning commission? Was it a unanimous vote? It was, or do you remember?
I remember it being unanimous, but I could be mistaken. I don't remember there being any opposition.
Was any of those propane matters concerned or discussed there?
Other than what I've noted, that we brought it up, that we did have some calls about that.
So the only difference between CI and LM is propane?
No.
No.
No, there are other industrial uses that can go in LM that aren't allowed in CI. The bigger difference is that the LM zone does not allow commercial uses. The CI is a mixed use where you have lighter industrial along with commercial. There's very limited commercial allowed in LM. It concentrates primarily on light industrial developments. It's intended to preserve properties for that purpose, whereas
CI
CI, no, LM. CI is a mixture where you can do both. Commercial, industrial, mixed use, and that's what this property is zoned right now.
First I heard about this.
Okay.
First
I can't overlay it, I can hand it to
We
them.
can show it to them,
Do we-
so they can see.
Well, maybe, let's do something other
Well,
than
this
table, because it
got
takes,
marked
let's,
here.
could we postpone it till another time?
I would actually, I'd be able to.
Wouldn't you?
I'll make a motion.
This is the first.
I'll say.
Mr. Mayor?
Could we take, what would be appropriate
I can withdraw the motion.
Well, we just want to study it.
We want to study this.
Would just make.
I mean, y'all have valid points that we want to look into.
I think a motion to table is the right motion.
But it takes,
Do I need to withdraw my main motion or just table?
The motion to table takes a majority.
we could,
I think you can move to table it. And I think it's
I'll make-
generally a two-thirds
I'll
majority,
make a
but that's
motion
still
to
3
table.
out of 4, so
Okay,
we
that's
still
fine.
have to do that anyway.
all right, so we've got a motion to table this for further study.
Right.
So we can have some understanding with some maps and some things like that.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a second for the
Second.
motion?
Second.
So second the motion to table. Any discussion on the motion to table? Okay, I'll vote.
4 yes votes to table.
All right, so this is tabled, and then will be, bring back to us for further study. Okay, 7C, hold a public hearing and consider on first reading ordinance 0180509, rezoning property located off North Willow Avenue, tax map 40B-A, portion of parcel 38 and 38.01 from RD, single family and duplex residential, to CL, local commercial. Mr. Mills.
Mayor and council members, this is the general location of the property being considered. The request was initiated by the property owner, Mr. Randall Ramsey. The property is identified as portions of two parcels, parcels 38 and 3801 on tax map 40B Group A. Combined, the parcels consist of approximately 8.81 acres. These are the two parcels that are involved. Here's an aerial view. Here's a view with our drone, and here's the current zoning map. The portion of the property that would be rezoned under this ordinance consists of approximately 0.53 acres. A portion of this property is already zoned as CL, it's this little triangle right here. The remaining, which is 0.02 acres, and then, of course, the remainder of this property is out here, would remain as RD. The property is contiguous, as you can see, with CL zoning on 3 different sides, and with RD on 2 sides. There's a duplex currently located on the property right here. Let me go back to that aerial photograph. This is the duplex that's located on the front portion of the property. There's a multifamily development currently under construction to the north here. difference between the RD and the CL district is the RD allows single and duplex residential where sewer is available with a minimum land area requirement of 5,000 square feet per dwelling unit. The CL allows commercial uses and also multifamily uses. The indication here is this would be used for multifamily purposes. It allows multifamily at a density of 3,000 square feet per dwelling unit. Public sewer is available to the property. Assuming if the property was rezoned, there could potentially be 8 dwelling units constructed on the property. Our long-range plan depicts the property as being a portion of the property located along North Willow Avenue, fairly close to what is being proposed here as being suitable for local commercial development. It was recommended and approved by the Planning Commission with the understanding that the property would be subdivided and with splitting, 2 properties would be combined and then re-subdivided so that the portion where the duplex is currently located would be separated from the part that would be rezoned, with the part to be rezoned accessed from Willow and not from Dixie. So, and this would also mimic the commercial zoning that's currently located along CL. And as I stated, this was approved by the Planning Commission, is recommended by the Planning Department.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting. Would anyone like to speak about this matter? No? All right. We'll close the public hearing portion. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion from the council or questions? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7D, hold a public hearing, consider on first reading ordinance 0180510, amendments to zoning code sections 204, 207, 220, 223, 234, and 235. Mr. Mills.
Mayor and council members, Mayor, as you stated, this ordinance makes various different amendments to the zoning code. The first would revise section 204 under the supplemental district regulations, which covers required setbacks along major streets by inserting Tennessee Avenue as a major street. What this does, it requires a minimum setback of 50 feet along all street frontage. The second amendment is to section 207, the general sign regulations, specifically the requirements for billboards. The amendment would insert and prohibit billboards along Tennessee Avenue. Billboards have previously been prohibited on 3 of the more recently completed streets in the city, including West Jackson, Neal Street, and Veterans Drive. The third amendment is section 220, which is neighborhood commercial zone. It would insert as a permitted use on appeal restaurants with drive-through facilities when located on streets of major collector or greater status. We talked about this at our work session Monday. Over the years, we've had several requests for drive-through restaurants in the neighborhood commercial zone, and typically these are located on major streets, and this amendment would allow that. And specifically, the request we most recently had was on North Washington Avenue, which is a 5-lane street. This would continue to prohibit drive-through restaurants on local streets and minor streets. The next amendment revises provisions of the CR Regional Commercial District to insert as permitted use climate-controlled storage, and to insert as a use permitted on appeal self-service storage facilities when meeting the conditions of 206-18 of the zoning code. And this would mirror the current requirements for the CG district. And how this came about is we recently had a request for these uses in the regional commercial district. We had a request to rezone to CG so that that use could be allowed. There was a lot of concern about rezoning to CG because it also allows multifamily. Regional commercial does not allow multifamily. So that's the purpose for this. And then the last amendment revises illustration 22 of the sidewalk details to clarify the 2-foot grass strip that's required between the edge of the sidewalk and the street edge. The amendments are recommended by the Planning Department and have been approved by the Planning Commission.
Thank you. We'll open the public hearing portion. Would anyone like to speak to any of these matters? No? All right. Close the public hearing portion. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And motion is second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Councilman Wall.
The thing I like best about this is that there are no billboards on Tennessee Avenue. You know, don't we have 122?
121.
Excuse me, 121 billboards, but none of the billboards can be taken down in other parts of Cookeville and be put up on Tennessee Avenue. Is that correct?
Well, not if this ordinance is passed.
If this ordinance is passed,
Of course, the bulk of the properties on Tennessee Avenue currently are rezoned as residential, which billboards are not allowed, but there are portions of it that are zoned, commercial, industrial, mixed use, where you could locate a billboard if it was relocated.
so, okay.
Any other questions? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
7E, consider on first reading ordinance 0180616, amending the Cookeville Municipal Code, Title 16, Chapter 7, relative to public parks, grounds, and municipal areas. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, I'm asking you to consider this ordinance tonight. It completely repeals and replaces Title 16, Chapter 7, and clarifies simply some old outdated language that existed in the original code. And this ordinance just clarifies that, brings it up to some more current language, as well as replaces Title 4, or completely repeals Title 4, Chapter 5, which is from 1970, and it completely does not apply today, so we'd ask you to repeal that section as well.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7F, hold a public hearing, consider on first reading ordinance 0180613, providing a tax levy for the 2018-2019 fiscal year. Ms. Emmel.
Mayor and council, this ordinance will establish the tax rate for fiscal year 2019, which is the 2018 property taxes. There is no tax increase recommended. The recommended rate will remain at 84 cents. It breaks down as 71 cents to the general fund, 4 cents to the GO debt service fund, 4 cents to economic development, 1 cent to quality of life, and 4 cents to the solid waste fund. Total estimated revenue for all those funds is $7,157,175. A penny on the tax rate is estimated to be $85,204. And this slide shows you the 10-year history of the penny on the tax rate, the growth in that. In 2008, it was $64,800, and as I said, estimated this year, it's supposed to be $85,204. That's an increase of 31.5%. And then this slide shows you where Cookeville's 2017 tax rate is in comparison with other cities over 14,500 in population within the state of Tennessee. And you can see there we are in the lower one-third portion of that screen. And again, this ordinance establishes a tax rate at 84 cents, and I would recommend your approval.
Thank you. We'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting. Would anyone like to speak to this matter? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Where did the estimated revenue from property tax, does that include the most recent information as it relates to reappraisal? Or the one going on, is that, I know the reappraisal of the property, are those numbers reflecting the most recent values of the property?
That is the most recent information I received from the property assessor's office. The appraisal year was actually 2 years ago, was a reappraisal year.
Right. Okay, so all those, and what was the estimated revenue of a penny, did you say, 2,000?
$85,204.
85, okay. Okay, thank you.
What was the total, 7 million what?
$7,157,175. And that allows for a 5% delinquency rate.
Any other questions from the council? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7G, hold a public hearing, consider on first reading ordinance 0180614, authorizing appropriations for financial aid to public service nonprofit charitable organizations for the 2018-2019 fiscal year. Ms. Emmel.
Mayor and council members, this ordinance sets an appropriation of let me get the slide here, $793,618. $664,866 is allocated to government agencies and joint ventures, and $128,750 to nonprofits as recommended by the nonprofit committee. For the governmental agencies and joint ventures, we have $325,000 to the Putnam County Library, $53,589 to Tennessee Rehabilitation Center, Putnam County Senior Citizens, $47,530, Upper Cumberland Regional Airport, $28,000, Chamber of Commerce will receive $130,000 in total, $30,000 for its operations and another $100,000. It's restricted for economic development, workforce development, and the Sports Council. Putnam County Emergency Management Agency, $25,400. Cityscape will receive $25,000 for its operations and another $15,306 designated for Fall Fun Fest. The Tennessee Central Heritage Rail Trail Authority will receive $7,043. And restricted for the 4th of July fireworks sponsorship, Better Cookeville will receive $8,000. And just to point out to you, the Cookeville Senior Citizen Center had requested an additional $10,000 in funds for operations. That has not been funded in this budget. However, as you will see when we present the budget in the next ordinance, we have included $10,000 in repairs and maintenance to the building. Then moving on to the nonprofit portion of this appropriation. The process was very similar to last year. Applications were required. We received 25 applications requesting $230,485. The amount available to allocate was $128,750. The nonprofit committee made up of 7 Cookeville citizens made the allocation. And here's the allocation that is included in the ordinance before you this evening. The 13th Judicial District Recovery Courts will receive $15,000. The Biz Foundry is recommended at $6,000. The Community for Heroes, $5,000. Cookeville Arts Council, $19,000. The Cookeville Children's Museum, $2,250. Cookeville Impact, $1,000. The Court-Appointed Special Advocates, $2,500. Cumberland Arts Society, $1,600. Genesis House, $12,000. Helping Hands of Putnam County, $12,000. The H.G. Stevens Center for Child Abuse, $5,000. Kids Putnam, $6,000. The PATH program at Plateau Mental Health, $3,000. Putnam County Clean Commission, $5,000. Putnam County Imagination Library, $5,000. The Putnam County Veterans Organization, $1,500. UCHRA, designated to the Meals on Wheels program, $6,550. The Upper Cumberland Child Advocacy Center, $6,100. The Upper Cumberland Family Justice Center, $8,250. The Veterans Honor Guard, $1,000. And WCTE TV Public Television is recommended at $5,000. And as you can see there, that is the total appropriation of $128,750. But we had a few applications that were not able to be funded this year. Cookeville Rescue Mission had requested $20,000. The Cookeville Regional Charitable Foundation had requested $10,000 for its cancer screening program and $5,000 for Carmen's Fund. The Putnam County Habitat for Humanity had requested $5,000, and UCHRA had requested $6,544 that was not able to be funded this year. Again, this ordinance appropriates $793,618, and I would recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
Mayor, if I might.
Yes, sir. Councilman Henry.
Thank you. I just want to, and I know the council feels this way, we appointed a citizens group to help us walk through these applications. And as Brenda's pointed out, 25 requests for $230,000. We only had $128,000 to work with, and they worked really hard to do the best job they could and to look at these and put some fresh eyes on it. And I wish I knew all the members of that group, but they just did a great job. It was a difficult task, and I just want to express my personal appreciation for what they did to help us with these very worthwhile nonprofits in our community.
Yes, they all are. And we appreciate the committee also. They have taken a lot of load off of us, and somebody outside of City Hall actually looking at these applications and trying to make these decisions. It was very helpful to us. We appreciate them too.
Very good. Any other comments or questions?
Mayor, just a reminder, it's a public hearing, so if there's any comments from the public.
Yes, any comments from the public? Okay. Thank you. All right, all vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7H, hold a public hearing, consider on first reading ordinance 0180615, making appropriations for the various funds, departments, and agencies of the city of Cookeville, Tennessee for the 2018-19 fiscal year. Ms. Emmel.
This is the long one, so I'll try to get through it as quick as I can. We're going to start right in with the general fund. The general fund is estimated to start the new fiscal year with a fund balance of $17,687,000. This budget includes estimated revenues of $27,623,202, transfers in of $115,043, operating expenditures and transfers out of $27,137,000, and this budget includes capital expenditures of $1,218,340. As you can see there, this budget actually has a deficit of $480,232, and projecting to end the fund balance as of the end of next year at $17,207,000. This deficit is due to non-recurring capital items, specifically the skate park matching grant that we've rolled into the new year, and road improvements around the location for the new police station that we planned on taking out of fund balance. And as we mentioned on Monday, one thing that we added to this budget since last month's work session was $50,000 to hire a consultant to help us look at the HVAC unit in this building. So that really is what contributing to the deficit. So it's really a planned deficit of non-reoccurring capital items. Again, the revenues are estimated at $27,623,202. Transfers in $100,000 from economic development. That helps pay for the designated contributions to the Chamber of Commerce. $15,043 from the Quality of Life Fund. That actually covers the appropriations to the Rail Trail Authority and for the 4th of July sponsorships to Better Cookeville. Total revenue is at $27,738,245. This pie chart just shows you the sources of the revenue. And as you can see here, the importance, local option sales tax is 50% of our revenue in the general fund. Property taxes is 23%. Business tax, license, and permits is at 7%, and it goes down from there. And speaking of sales tax, we are estimating for this fiscal year to have sales tax of $13,258,607. For the new budget, we have projected sales tax growth at 4% and have budgeted $13,788,950. Other revenue items, the in lieu of tax payments from the utilities, electric department, $1,163,837, water department, $284,741, gas department, $136,402. Business, industry, and housing authority in lieu of tax payments, $191,153. Wholesale beer tax, $1,110,000. Business tax, $1,254,000. Wholesale liquor tax, $410,000. And the hall income tax, we continue to reduce this as this phase out over the next few years. We budgeted it at $200,000. And again, a summary of the revenues. The total revenue is estimated at $27,623,202. Transfers in from other funds is $115,043. Jumping to the expenditure side, this budget has an appropriation for operating expenditures of $26,137,669. The governmental agencies, joint ventures, and nonprofits, which we just discussed on the last agenda item, was $778,368. Transfers out is $88,000 to the Animal Control Board and $3,000 to the Tree Board. The capital items in this budget is $1,218,340 for a total appropriation of $28,218,477. And 79% of our general fund operating expenses are basically personnel cost. So in this budget, there are no new positions funded. However, we have one temporary part-time grant-funded position of a urban forester that we have included funding to move that to a full-time position. We have a merit-based system that's operated on 18 pay grades. I think we adopted that back in 2013. This budget funds moving the pay range is 2% and giving all full-time and regular part-time employees a 2% cost of living. This budget also funds merit-based pay increases on an anniversary date up to a maximum of 3% based on the employee's performance evaluation. And this budget also funds longevity pay. And also TCRS had a rate increase of 2.04%, and this budget funds that. So you can see there's a lot of increases in personnel costs, which is the largest portion of our operating budget. Total operating expenses, again, is $26,909,137, capital $1,218,340, and transfers out $91,000. So the total appropriation and expenditures and transfers is $28,218,477. And very quickly, we'll go through the departments. Largest department is police. Their operating budget is $8,949,971, capital of $233,000, and that basically is 7 new pursuit vehicles with equipment and installs. Fire department operating appropriation is $5,392,631, capital $55,740 for some equipment. Public Works Department has an operating budget of $3,475,203 and $408,000 in capital. $170,000 of that is for brush grinding. $75,000 is for the road improvements around the location of the new police station. And again, that was an item that we had planned on taking out of fund balance and is driving that deficit. A leaf vacuum, $35,000, single axle dump truck of $95,000, and a 3/4 ton truck of $33,000. The general government has an operating budget of $3,331,570, capital of $70,000. Court software, $20,000, and as I mentioned earlier, since the work session last month, we have added $50,000 to capital here to hire an engineering consultant to help us assess the options for the HVAC unit in this building. Leisure Services Department has an operating budget of $1,935,585, capital is $388,950. And that includes the skate park grant of $377,750, and again, we planned on taking that out of fund balance. And then the Parks and Maintenance Department, an operating budget of $1,496,300, capital of $36,900, and as you can see here, this is where we have budgeted $10,000 for additional repairs to the Senior Citizen Center. Codes Department, an operating budget of $918,450, and capital $22,250, which is primarily some software to keep the city's network up to date, antivirus, firewall, and all those softwares we cost share with the utilities because they are used to provide services citywide. And the Planning Department, an operating budget of $631,060 with capital of $3,500 for a storage vault. So to summarize the general fund, we've got revenues and transfers in of $27,738,245. Operating expenses and transfers out $26,221,769. And then the governmental agencies, nonprofits is $778,368. And then capital purchases of $1,218,000. And that drives us with a deficit of $480,232. And we will jump into the state street aid fund. Is projected to start the year with $1,065,000, and their appropriation is $3,272,565. Most of that is capital items of $2,456,165. $1.8 million of that are 2 large sidewalk projects that are currently in process: the Multimodal Access Grant Project and STBG Sidewalk Project. We also have money in there for a guardrail replacement, controller software, a railroad safety project, and we currently have ongoing an ADA project where we have a consultant that's assessing all of our ADA and all of our facilities. And since the work session, I have highlighted there in red, we have increased the paving budget in this fund from $600,000 to $650,000. And the solid waste fund is projected to start the year with a fund balance of $1,013,330, revenues of $2,046,500, and appropriation for expenditures is $2,207,131. Capital items there is $665,000, $80,000 for dumpsters, roll-offs, $30,000 for residential carts, and we're planning on purchasing 2 garbage trucks next year, a front load truck for $265,000 and a side load for $290,000. So we are projecting to end next year with a fund balance of $852,699. The drug fund, this fund is supported primarily by confiscated items and money that the police department gets and is adjudicated through the system and awarded to us through the courts. This fund starts the year with $320,732. Revenue budget for next year is $41,000, and the appropriation for expenditures is $190,500. And some of the items they're requesting to purchase there is $20,000 for drug investigations, $36,000 for some used vehicles. That total station is a crash crime scene laser scanner for $60,000. And then to replace the server, $14,500, and a license plate reader for $20,000. The tree board fund has a beginning fund balance estimated to be $12,454. Transfers in from the general fund is $3,000, other revenues $570. Expenditures appropriated are $4,000 for their operations. Animal control fund, fund balance, and this is just for operations, $181,066. Revenues for next year and transfers in of $322,750, and expenditures of $349,455. Their operating expenditures are $349,455, and we have requested other local governments help support us in this fund. So we have requested from Putnam County $88,000, $6,600 from Monterey, $8,100 from Allgood, and $3,150 from Baxter. The Economic Development Fund has a projected fund balance to start the year of $1,156,768. Revenues in this fund is $355,000. They are allocated 4 cents on the property tax. Expenditures and transfers out in the appropriation is $316,200. The $100,000 transfer out is to the general fund to offset the designated contributions to the Chamber of Commerce. Also in this budget is the Stewart Cemetery Road relocation, $50,000, and the wage incentive to SAIC of $120,000 for year 2. The Quality of Life Fund has a fund balance to start the year of $308,342. Revenue of $101,000. This fund actually gets 1 penny on the tax rate. Expenditures and appropriations is $159,143. In the parks and recreational activities of $141,000, that includes 2 things that have been in our master plan, a parking lot and a dog park down at Cane Creek Park. And then we talked at the work session about the shoreline restoration that needs to be done around the lake. And then we've got $20,000 for Christmas in the Park for 2018. And jumping into the Capital Improvement Bond Fund, just to give you a summary here, an update of the last couple bond issues we did. We issued $4.3 million in 2013. We did numerous projects with this, but there is still a little portion of funds remaining that are to be used on Dogwood Park. We issued $9,815,200 in 2015. All those proceeds were spent on Tennessee Avenue. And then last fall, if you recall, we did a $2,800,000 bond issue. And the projects in there was $550,000 of that was designated for capital outlay. We purchased a fire truck with it and some other vehicles for departments. Other projects are Tennessee Avenue, Cedar Street, and police station, design of the police station, and those are ongoing projects. So for this general improvement bond fund, the fund balance to start the fiscal year is $2,638,749. Most of that is unspent bond proceeds. Revenue, $79,110. That's a little bit of a grant proceeds that are left on the large grants we had for Tennessee Avenue. And then this next fiscal year, we are proposing doing a $14 million bond issue. So the bond proceeds are $14 million in there. And then expenditures and transfers in this fund are $16,215,200. And most of that are construction of the new police facilities, $14,730. And that's primarily what the bond issue would be used for. And then to give you an idea of some other projects we have, for next fiscal year, again, we're looking at a up to $14 million bond issue to do construction of the police station. And then maybe the year after that, we are looking at possibly another debt issue for an aquatic center and some renovation to CPAC. And then some other projects that have been mentioned that could be done with a future debt issue also. We talked about the need for another fire station, some local road improvements, Town Spring project, expansion of our current parks, and then talked about City Hall improvements. So that gives you an idea of what projects that we have and what debt issues we need to do. So the next question is can we pay for it? And this GO debt service fund is how we pay for our debt. And this fund is projected to start the year with $11,896,733. Revenues are $3,765,272, and that includes, they get 4 cents of the property tax, but also the in lieu of tax payment from the hospital is put into this fund, so that includes that. That's at $700,000. Expenditures, which is primarily the principal and interest on the bonds and the notes, is $4,538,22. So we are projected to reduce fund balance next year by $772,750, leaving a fund balance of $11,123,983. And the principal and interest payments in this budget include the principal and interest payments on the new proposed $14 million debt issue. This slide shows you our current debt outstanding. Our current debt outstanding is $21,507,000, $18,300,000 in bonds, and another $3,207,000 in variable rate loan agreements with the Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund. And this is the debt service on that current debt outstanding. And then this shows you the estimated debt service with a proposed $14 million issue. And you can see for the first 5 years, we will spend more money than what is going into that fund, reducing the debt. And if we did a $14 million debt issue, that would bring our total debt outstanding to $35,507,000. And then if we did, in the next year, another $5.5 million debt issue for the aquatic center and whatever other projects, we're looking at annual debt service that exceeds the revenue going in there for about 8 years. And that would bring our total debt outstanding to just over $40 million. So you can see here, this is what it does to our fund balance, our reserves that are in that fund. With both those debt issues, issuing probably about $20 million worth of debt, it reduces those reserves down by 2026 to just over $6 million. And they recommend, and that's with no new revenues being dedicated to this fund, and the industry standard recommends that you keep that reserve equal to at least 1 year's debt service payments. And at that point, our principal and interest debt payments are just under $4 million. So we still have adequate reserves to service both those debts we're proposing, and then if we wanted to do another smaller one, down the road after that. So, okay, moving on to the health insurance fund. It is projected to start the year with a fund balance of $3,707,530. The revenues that go into this fund are premiums from the city, our employees, and our retirees. And those are budgeted at $4,947,000, and that provides the funds then that are available for premiums for our stop loss and to Blue Cross for our third-party administration fees, and leaves $4,351,344 available for claims. So the appropriation of expenditures there is $4,947,000. The Workers' Comp Liability Fund is kind of an internal service fund. It has a fund balance at the beginning of the year of $833,395. The appropriation of expenditures there is $650,120. We basically pay workers' comp claims and general liability claims out of this fund, and then we bill them back to the departments, and the departments reimburse this fund. Moving on to the electric department. The electric department is projected to start the year with cash reserves of $12,105,839. Revenue, $57,068,573. Depreciation and amortization budgeted for next year is $2,966,146. And expenses that are budgeted in the appropriation for next year are $60,026,941. Projected to the end next year with a cash reserve of $12,113,617. And there in red, I also wanted to point out to you, this is the third change we've made since work session last month. They've increased the estimate in materials, equipment and materials, $230,000 since last month. to increase estimates on the east sub-transformer failure. And I think Tony had shared information with you on that on Monday. Moving on to the gas department. Gas department has cash reserves projected to be at the beginning of the year of $13,761,475. Revenue is budgeted $11,149,820. Provision for depreciation $700,000, and the appropriation for expenses there is $10,844,870. And they're projected to add to reserves next year $1,004,950. Bringing his cash reserves at the end of the year to $14,766,425. Moving on to the water department, the cash reserves in the water department are projected to be $9,994,198 at the beginning of the fiscal year. Their budget revenue is $14,174,000. Provision for depreciation and amortization $3,293,896. And his budgeted expenditures is $23,507,920. And you can see it down below, most of that is in capital items. He's budgeted $373,000 for general capital expense and $8,683,000 for system improvements. So that's driving his deficit next year of $6,040,024. So he's anticipating ending the fiscal year with cash reserves of $3,954,174. Customer service department is actually an internal service fund. Whatever expenditures they have get billed back to the utility departments and the solid waste fund. And we have budgeted meter reading expense there of $360,190. Customer service expense $1,004,140. And capital expense, which is for the utility billing system that you recently approved our purchasing of $150,000. So that total appropriation there is $1,514,330. And like I said, that will be reimbursed to the fund from the utilities. So they basically have no fund balance. And we get to the last fund, which is Cookeville Regional Medical Center. And they've requested a budget for revenue of $315,377,842, expenses $329,235,069, and they are projecting to have cash reserves at the end of next fiscal year of $67,982,500. And to point out in their expenses, you can see their payment in lieu of taxes, just like last year, is budgeted at $700,000. And my last slide, which kind of summarizes all of the funds in the ordinance before you, you have a total of proposed expenditures and transfers out of $486,196,943, and I would recommend your approval.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the public hearing portion. Do we have anyone that would like to speak to this matter? All right. We'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion is second. Any discussion or questions? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7I, consider authorizing the city manager to execute a contract for stop-loss insurance coverage. Ms. Emily.
Mayor and council, we have an annual stop-loss contract. Our health insurance plan has been self-insured since 1998, and this stop-loss policy actually protects us against large claims. We have had coverage with a company named Blue Re, which is a Blue Cross Blue Shield company, for the last 4 years. The contract expires at the end of this month. And currently, we have a $160,000 individual deductible and a $60,000 aggregate deductible. We are recommending that we renew with Blue Re at the same level of coverage, and the amount's going to be $21.17 for a single contract, $53.15 for a family contract, but that's a 24% increase in the premiums, and it's going to cost us about $48,000 more a year. And I would recommend your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. 7J, consider authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Civic Plus Software HR Module. Gail Fowler.
Get all my stuff out of the way.
Mayor and council, pleased to bring you this evening an agreement for an additional service that was in the contract that you approved last year, June 15th, as a matter of fact. It's with Civic Plus. It's a company that specializes in web design and software applications specifically made for local governments. This is for an HR module, human resource module. This agreement provides for online applicant tracking and onboarding for new hires. It's going to automate our process more and more as we go through our silver tsunami, as we call it. I'm finding that I'm looking more and more for candidates. This process is going to allow them to apply, fill out the information one time, and they'll be notified each time that I have an opening. So I think that will streamline that process and hopefully bring more successful candidates to us. The cost of the agreement is a budgeted item. I think you have a little breakdown in your notebook, but it does include the applicant tracking subscription and implementation and employee onboarding subscription and implementation. The total first-year investment is $14,280. That's what I'm requesting this evening for approval, and it does include the first-year annual fees. I believe Brenda has also included the annual fee renewal for next year in this budget. And as I mentioned, it is a budgeted item that was approved last year in the budget. So I would respectfully request your approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
7K, consider approval to pay invoice for repairs on a variable frequency drive VFD at the water plant, sole source provider. Ronnie Kelly.
Mayor and council, council recently approved us to repair a transformer, this is the electric room at the intake structure. The transformer is here. That was council approved the payment for the repair of that. This is the VFD that we're talking about tonight. We have sent it to the manufacturer. They rebuilt it, will give us a warranty. The cost of that invoice is $23,700, and would recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All vote.
4 yes votes, motion carries.
All right, that concludes our agenda portion. We have a time at the end if anyone would like to speak to the council on non-agenda items. Yes, please come up to the lectern. Identify yourself, even though we know
Hello,
you.
everyone. My name is Laura Clemens, and I'm here tonight to represent the Board of Art Round Tennessee. And I wanted to, for those of you who don't know about Art Round Tennessee, we're the group who puts on the Art Prowl every year, the gallery and studio tour. I'm here tonight to thank Mayor Shelton and the council for helping us out with Spokes, which is the first public art project in Cookeville done by local artists. We were able to receive a significant grant from the Tennessee Arts Commission because the city said you wanted to be a part of this project with us, and we're really thankful. Specifically, thank you, Mayor, for your help with this. I'd also like to thank the department heads who helped out: Greg Brown, Jeff Littrell, Rick Woods back in there, Tony Peak, and most especially Melinda Kiefer, who was our shepherd throughout this project. She knows a good idea when she sees it, and for that reason, I think the quality of life in Cookeville is a lot better. Mike Davidson, thank you very much for your help with this process too. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. It was a very cool project, and it's exciting to have it downtown, and we're going to put lights on it, correct?
We are going to put lights on it, and they'll be ready in time for Red, White, and Boom.
We're gonna maybe do the grand opening ribbon cutting, or during Red, White, and Boom. We'll have an allotted time that afternoon, so we're excited about that as well.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, if I may say something, Laura, thank you, and thank you for your group and taking on this project. I had the opportunity to speak with, of course, Brad Sells, who designed and made that, and is now a current member of our Rail Trail project. And I'm excited because the Rail Trail group, and I'm sure your group, have some really great ideas about doing more art around our city, and I think that's I would encourage the future council, this council and future councils, to continue that public-private partnership. It's one thing I've learned in my tenure here, is that public-private partnerships work.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased that your group was able to, with the city's help, able to get this project done. I look forward to a lot more.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate all of you.
One thing I want to say is that I am so excited, and I think everyone in Cookeville is so excited about the Tennessee Tech baseball team reaching the super regional finals at Austin. And we're all excited about that, so that's
Go
the one
Tech.
thing.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you. Councilman Henry?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Point of personal privilege. If I could kind of rewind this a little bit. 1986 was a very significant year for my family. I happened to be serving as mayor at the time. And I learned when we added a child to our family, and I learned that that was the first sitting mayor that ever had a baby. Actually, the wife had the baby, but Matt Swallows, I think, has repeated that since that point in time, but we were real happy about that. And that child is here today, and I'm glad to have my daughter Brittany right here in the she's here. Yeah.
Let him embarrass your daughter.
I wouldn't do that at all. I'm going to catch it later, so I might as well get the.
Any other comments? All right, we're adjourned.